Hi, welcome to Itsy Bitsy's live read of Love Only Better by Paulette Stout. Chapter 1. Movie sex scenes have always been my classroom. Having never experienced that kind of ecstasy myself, I've had to only make do with the cinematic lovers instead. It's lame for sure. But those steamy scenes quickened my pulse in a way that never happened for me in real life. No splendor, no odd, only disappointment. That was the story of my sucky sex life. Pay attention. I wiggled for air as I laid compressed under my boyfriend Ethan while he role played at being an attentive lover. The contours of his handsome face glowed green from the digital clock on my nightstand. His broad shoulders and boyish green looks turned heads wherever we went. We've been dating for 3 years, but lately his arrogance and needling insults made his beauty impossible to appreciate. Plus, the guy was fake as they came, copying nearly every gesture and mannerism from movies. The head tilt when something amused him, the sealed bark of a laugh, his lovemaking. On cue, Ethan hoisted one of my legs to enter deeper, furrowing his brow in concentration. Seeing it reminded me of finding that exact expression on screen. My roommate Barbara and I were watching an obscure Fight Club wannabe film when my boyfriend's moves leapt off the screen. It wasn't just an eerie deja vu type of thing. I had concrete memories of living that exact sex scene countless times. The shock bolted me upright off the sofa, knocking my bowl of popcorn all over the floor. Barbara and I had a good laugh about it, but when the chuckles faded, tears prickled my eyes. No matter how bad Ethan was in bed, I was worse. At least he finished. Ethan's teeth predictably slipped over his lip for a soft bite. His climax was close. He dropped his head just enough for his blonde hair to plop over his forehead. Ethan vibrated with a barely perceptible tremor as he fought off his approaching orgasm. I can't, he groaned. It was so unfair. Ethan's pleasure was solo, and he never noticed. To be fair, my drought began long before him since I'd never climaxed with anyone else, or by myself. Sometimes when I walked around Manhattan, I inspected women, attempting to guess whether they'd finished in bed. The answer was always yes, leaving me feeling as broken and pathetic as I did right now, lying under Ethan. To make matters worse, he thrusted like he danced, no rhythm. Probably why he loitered at the edge of the small dance floor at the bar we frequented. Dude could use the practice, though. I wrapped my legs around his waist, flexing and releasing in an effort to tame his erotic gyrations. I typically symphonized my moans and gasps in time with his to fake something I've never experienced. Suddenly, Ethan's body tensed, a rush of air hissing out of him as he collapsed on top of me. Shit, I missed my cue. I followed a few beats afterwards, skipping my normal buildup of cries and facial contortions for the bare bones version. Instead of rolling off and falling asleep like usual, Ethan's muscles tensed under my fingers. Braced my arms braced on either side of my head, the heat of his stare bored through the dark room like laser beams. Did you just fake it? His aggressive voice was too loud for 2 a.m. Shh, you'll wake Barbara. I tightened my embrace to draw him close, but he scrambled back, sitting on his bare hunches. You did. You totally faked it. How could you do that to me? Of course, he'd make my lack of pleasure all about him. I was the I was the one leaving sex frustrated and ashamed, but you didn't see me complaining. Let's just go to sleep. I stretched to gather the mussed covers around us, but Ethan flung them off and scrambled out of bed. He hipped his hands right above those groin grooves that had me dropping my panties, then regretting it later. How long has this been going on? Please, keep your voice down, I whispered. Not until you answer me. I couldn't. I was the worst liar on the planet, and he'd see through me immediately. But not lying was an admission too. We both knew it. I pressed my lips together to avoid saying something I'd regret. You've been faking all along, haven't you? Laughing at me behind my back. That's not true. But my voice sounded squeaky and false. I had been making fun of him in my head moments earlier. What a sucker I am for falling for this act. What is wrong with you? I don't have the slightest clue. I slid down the headboard and rolled on my side away from him, swallowing the salty tears threatening to escape. I've always known there was something not right with us. I couldn't put my finger on what it was. Now I know. In the wall mirror, I watched him snatch his boxers off the floor and slide them on one leg at a time. It's got to be you, he continued. Every woman I take to bed creams with delight. Every one. You're you're cold and heartless. I bet you hold back on purpose. His words stabbing through me. I had no excuse for faking, but it was ridiculous to suggest I denied myself to spite him. I wanted nothing more than to dive into sex with wild abandon, to feel what he was experiences, what normal adults have mastered, but I just couldn't. I didn't know how. Besides, his reactions confirmed my wisdom in keeping quiet. Ethan was a man child. I could only imagine how he would have reacted if I mentioned he wasn't doing it for me in bed. He never would have stayed with me this long if he knew. Faking was self preservation. Fool as he was, Ethan was mine, and I wanted him to stay. This was the longest relationship I've ever had, and frightening efficacy was the glue. I sat up, gripping the top sheet for protection. I'm sorry. Really, I am. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please come back to bed. I'll try harder next time. Ethan snorted. There won't be a next time. He slipped his arms into the black collared shirt he wore this evening, buttoned up, and then walked around to my side of the bed. Despite his words, my hope soared as he cupped my head like a delicate flower. My lids drooped close in expectation of his kiss, but none came. When I opened my eyes, his ghoulish expression glowed green, mere inches from mine. Why would anyone want a frigid ice queen like you? I startled and pulled away, shame drenching me like I jumped in a pool. He was right. Ethan deserved better than a broken woman who lied to him for years. He slipped on his sports jacket, finger combed his hair, then flung open my bedroom door to leave, not bothering to close it. The darkness from the hallway beyond lurked like an eerie omen. Apparently, my nakedness no longer merited protecting. The heavy apartment door slammed shut, punctuating our relationship with a finality. I tugged at the bedding with my fist as a shriek pierced the silence. Deep and mournful, it took a moment to realize the wail was coming from me. Rebecca? Barbara called through the wall separating our bedrooms. When I didn't answer, she scrambled to my bedside, hugging my trembling body. Her pink satin bonnet caressed her cheek as we embraced. She wore the cap at night to protect her long weave, yet another way Barbara prepared for life in ways I didn't. I barreled through, hoping for the best, and was wrong more often than not. Sweetie, what happened? What's the matter? She asked. Barbara reached to turn on the light next to my bed, the dark skin of her arm glistening from her overnight moisturizing routine. She inspected my limbs and, seeing no marks, handed me my nightshirt from the floor to slip on. Sitting back to give me both physical and emotional space, Barbara's calm patience was an invitation to share. We, he, we had a fight, and he stormed out. I've never seen him that mad before, but I can't blame him. Ethan's a hothead. He'll cool down. Barbara folded her arms. It was no secret my boyfriend was her least favorite among the men I dated over the years. There's no coming back from this. I hid behind my hands and wept, my mind a whirl with guilt and frustration. Once again, my sex problems had ruined a perfectly good relationship. After I collected myself, I spilled the full story. How I'd never climaxed with Ethan, but had perfected the pageantry of it all. I figured he knew, at least some of the time. I assumed he hadn't mentioned it to save face. His reaction tonight proved he was the only one skilled at fakery. I released a cleansing breath before the big finale. Then he called me a frigid ice queen and left. He didn't, Barbara recoiled. Oh, yes, he did. You're not an ice queen. You know that. Counselor, the evidence is overwhelming. He's a jackass. I've always thought so. He's not that bad. Barbara raised an eyebrow. Come on. He never treated you right. I won't lie to you and say I'm disappointed he's gone. But I am. My voice was small as I felt for wanting someone who clearly had no use for me. She hugged me tight. You can do better. Ethan will regret losing you, and you'll look back and not regret losing him. Barbara was confidence to spare. The best I muttered was a pathetic shrug, which seemed enough to satisfy. Let's go back to bed. I have a big day in court today, and you need to be at your best for that crazy boss of yours. Barbara popped a squeaky kiss on my forehead. Get some rest. Moments later, her bedroom door closed with a gentle click. I turned off the lamp next to my bed, plunging the room into a green haze darkness. Ethan's angry face sprang to mind. Was it so unforgivable of me to fake it in bed? Didn't that say more about our relationship and why I didn't feel comfortable mentioning it? In an odd way, his explosive reaction proved me right. But his side had merit too. He'd been duped by a woman who was convincingly faked orgasms, groaning and panting, and doing all the things I'd seen in movies or read in books. It was a talent, really, like lip syncing the wrong lyrics to a song without anyone noticing. Yet the fact remained that I was as big a fraud as Ethan. The only difference was I could do something about it. Thank you for listening.